guy can wipe another guy out in front of the official.
No short, strong follow and the block on the rookie Mitchell. George.
You got to be able to play through contact.
Patterson beating George. Oh my. You go because PG-13 was having trouble finding the range. He was 1 of 7. Oh, that's a Statue of Liberty before the flush for.
Is this PG-13? Oh no.
Oh, yeah. Oh. By the way, trivia question, not really a trivia question.
Paul George, 9th season out of Fresno State. All-star again. What a nice Euro step. Takes it in.
2%. Well, he has it cooking tonight. Look at the crossover on Mills. Here's the contact by Rudy Gay. Look at this. Right into the lane. 3 white jerseys around him.
You're starting 3 out of 4. The Mavericks have misfired their last 3 times down the floor. Westbrook, Euro stepping into
The shot clock violation.
George has 8 in the quarter. He crosses over, attacks, and scores.
It's been a long time, but he left his mark.
Paul George to step.
From Paul George. And that is the end of the first.
Floor spread. George going to cross over. Harold.
Paul George connects. Penetration by George. Pirouettes and scores.
OKC would be 8 and open at Houston if it loses here to the Grizzlies. George loses McLemore
tonight, but consistently he has really shot the basketball extremely well.
Paul George bottled up
on our side.
As Gobert splits both free throws.
Nice spin move by George.
Finish at 6'8". Paul George, upper body strength, just split the 2 defenders. George spinning inside, great fake.
Run him 40 plus today. Off balance, you get a layup out.
First All-Star in a while. George against Robert Covington, great move inside. That's why he's
6-2 on second chances. George spins away from Ingles, gets him on his head.
Conversation, and I think people in LA, if you're living here in LA, your expectations are that this franchise is
and double teamed already. We still got another quarter. Yeah, that's a great point. George working against Hart. I'll tell you, Hart over Hart. Yeah. Boy, great.
But this is what he wanted to do.
George takes the screen. Patterson. He attacks. He was looking for
Dates. We talked about it. We've mentioned it before. Very casual and loose with the basketball. It'll count if it goes.
On the floor now.
You think they know each other?
They got him. Well, actually,
and capitalizing 4 of 6 with 9 points into Paul George. Slinks to the iron. Dirk.
Paul George had a good game, scored 26 points, bouncing back from going 1 for 14 against Golden State on Saturday night.
With their injury issues taking on the Thunder.
Actually, I believe he has 5 personal fouls.
Beg your pardon, you are correct, sir.
And
Favors with 4.
That's going to keep him on the bench.
George
for the Jazz. Just keep cashing in.
George attacks him.
George back at that free throw line with a chance for a 3-point play. Took the contact. Man, he.
Valanciunas. Nice move by George, absorbing
earlier this season with the right heel bursitis, but he's back and they're going to need his offense in the playoffs.
Hayward injury to start the game, start the season, then dropped 0-2, have a chance to do something no one has ever done. But Paul,
and see what happens. Here it is.
Oh yeah, well behind it, a couple inches behind. 3 points for Paul.
Still, Grant able to locate that pass up over his head, and then how about the body control here, Reggie?
George. Nice screen by Patterson, leaving George.
Good on a pair. The Nets lead is 13. Just over a minute to go here in the 3rd quarter.
I like that too.
Nice backdoor pass, and then Vucevic can't finish underneath. Westbrook going to go right at Fournier. He was
much, if any, here. He's got 29 now. Paul George got all the way into the paint.
Fournier on George.
Stempe.
Wow. We'll take that all day long.
Person spot in the starting lineup and in the rotation.
Say what our director Clay Armstrong said, compound. But he's becoming.
Oklahoma City has found something on the offensive end. Paul George with 15. George crosses, challenges Gobert.
To what Booker did. Absolutely.
Has hesitation.
Somehow he created the shot.
Paul fading, scoring.
He looked at the shot clock on the other end. You know, speaking of shot clock, there was none. Had this been
Paul again.
And what he did was really good. I mean, obviously made the shot.
2 more. 6 straight for Paul George.
Well, that's the way you got to take it over.
Continues his streak of 30 straight games with a 3-point field goal.
If he scores, it's fine. But you don't want to start dribbling the ball around. And he,
23 years old, undersized as a postman at 6'8", as Paul George gets inside, and he has 9.
see, Paul's got it.
George against Stauskas, and Paul George has an 11-point quarter.
Yeah, Paul is too big for Stauskas, but
inside the arc, and George has his first point since the first quarter. The jump shot good by George, second of the quarter.
Stauskas isn't going to be regarded. That's why I was saying, just take it.
Dunks it! Boy, he took off from what looked outside the lane.
It was clearly outside the lane. I didn't think he was going to get there.
Well, he got his legs into that shot, Quinn.
Well, he did. He also got his legs warmed up. The first shot he took, he had basically just come off the bench, and he took a shot, and it was a shot that he was going to back up.
George hits it.
Yeah,
tied.
He had a chance for the drive, but to get it to overtime is fine, too.
For Paul George.
Great
loses
hands.
the ball.
Throw it out there.
Here comes George. Steps through and dunks it. Paul George with 26.
Got the defensive stop. Made all the difference in the world there. The Pacers have a star.
Works against Henderson, and Paul George delivers again.
24, but PG-13 sounds a heck of a lot more marketable.
Catching them and doing something with it, and I said, you have to be balanced. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that gave him that kind of encouragement. And
13.
That's too easy there. You let him catch athleticism. It's not like
50 win for Felton, and here comes the Thunder running again. George set his 6th triple of the ball game. 28 points on the night. George
forced the defense to work.
And Oklahoma City's got to get some stops here. It's too easy for.
And he goes right at Matthews.
Oklahoma City has no offensive rebounds. They've been the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA. George off balance. It goes! Andre Robertson taking it to the rim. The jumper for George. He was
his candidate, I think, for Rookie of the Year.
I know it's a two-man race.
George fouled at the 3-point line. Count it! Neal bidding for the steal. Squares up. George crossing over, feeding Grant.
Over to Jeremy Grant.
I think it's going to be shorten the dribble and protect it. Out of the timeout, Paul George up against AD with 5 to play. On the crossover, good setup. Man,
This offseason. Paul George, who just made that bucket right there, is a great player, superstar player.
As George leaves, just my own opinion, but it feels like it's LeBron and Paul George or neither one of them. As George leaves it up.
Time to work a play. Love the crispness of the passing here. Out of the double team. Felton for 3.
George crossing over, kind of putting on a clinic, then he steps back, and he scores over Barnes. Man, that just high percentage. He's doing it. He's shooting 40%. There's George out front. He drills the 3 and gets fouled. PG-13. The meter's still running. Houston leading by 8. Well, they're playing their game. This is their pace. They'll keep this up for the full 48 minutes. Paul George in with the international ball, right? Not FIBA. You can't do that. OKC leading by a point. George against Tucker. Drew the foul. And one. Paul George.
He went to his Karate Kid home, man. Right this shit.
The floor. You know, Michael, what you don't like is the Thunder has as many turnovers, 16, as assists, but they've only given up 7 points off of them. What a move by George.
The shot there by Beal, his 3rd make, 6 points with 4 rebounds. George will dance final seconds over Oubre.
Drexel in there right now. Ken Felton moved this team where they get high percentage moves.
Going to get some help here from Paul George working against James.
Good defense by LeBron.
Throws it up. It's been that type of day.
Not finish. The rookie Juwan Evans out of Oklahoma State. Here's George. Will it count? Will it get? Yes, it will. He had it gathered.
Pelosha throws it back out. Reset to Paul George. Westbrook spreads the floor. George slaps away the hand of O'Neal and a whistle.
And Westbrook wants to push here. George dancing. That time he's able to drive.
For the rebound, Dennis Schroeder to forecourt. Stanley trying to overplay Paul George. George gets by him for a jam.
13 turnovers. Shumpert on George. And a foul.
Opportunity.
George in a mismatch will drive home Gobert. The help comes, and that'll be an and one for Westbrook. Just 5 of 17 from the floor in this game. George sizing up Mitchell. He has 2 more.
Sizing up the strike.